send 2 witnesses to warn the nations to turn back to God before it's too late. They're also going to perform miracles, and one of these witnesses is going to have the power to turn rivers into blood, the same power God gave Moses in Egypt. This is why some scholars believe that one of these 2 witnesses is the resurrected Moses. If Satan somehow knew about this future plan, then it would make sense why he would want his body. It's clear that there is a very real battle going on in the unseen realm that most of us are just oblivious to. In fact, you're about to hear about multiple events that were taking place in the spiritual realm. At the exact same time, some of the most well-known Bible stories were unfolding. You heard about Joshua leading the people into the Promised Land, and you may have even heard about the giants who were living there at the time. These giants are actually called Nephilim in the original Hebrew. The English translation just uses the word giant because it's the closest word to describe what a Nephilim is. What are the Nephilim doing on the earth after the flood? I thought they were all destroyed, never to be seen again. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. So the passage says that these Nephilim appeared on the earth after the flood as well. Some scholars have even argued that this word when can actually be translated whenever, making the passage say that the Nephilim were on the earth whenever the sons of God into the daughters of men. So another angel rebellion must have taken place after the flood in Canaanite territory where the Promised Land was, no doubt inspired by the original rebel himself, which is probably why this location here in Canaanite territory was known to the people at the time as Bashan, or Place of the Serpent. This was the place where the Nephilim king Og lived and where the Canaanites made all kinds of sacrifices to their gods. But according to Jewish history, the Israelites considered this area to be a portal to the underworld where demons manifested. The Bible even says that when people make sacrifices to idols, what they're actually doing is making sacrifices to demons. And they consider this mountain here, Mount Hermon, to be the location where the rebellious sons of God came to earth to breed Nephilim giants. Thousands of years after Joshua led the Israelites into the Promised Land. Goliath was also a descendant of Satan's Nephilim army. This is because Joshua and his army were able to defeat most of the giants in the land, but not the ones living in Philistine territory. When David defeated Goliath, he was conquering one of the last demonic creatures left on the earth. And we find out later that David's mighty men of war fought and defeated Goliath's brothers, the last of the Nephilim in the land. They weren't just claiming physical territory for the kingdom of Israel, they were claiming spiritual territory the divine enemy had stolen from God. But the Nephilim weren't the only enemies Satan had planted in the Promised Land. As you heard earlier, he released demons in the land who became the Canaanite gods sent to tempt Israel to worship them. Take the god Molech, for example. This was a demonic god who the Bible says the Israelites sacrificed their own little ones to. I wish this was just a sad old story. But shockingly, the skeletal remains of children have been discovered at a 3,000-year-old altar in the exact region the Bible says Israel made their sacrifices. For this reason, God exiled the children of Israel to enemy territory, Babylon. At the time, this was the home of the Assyrians, who worshipped the host of heaven. The host of heaven refers to the angels who had rebelled and became false gods among the people. God allowed the people to be punished in Babylon for decades before he finally brought them back into his holy land, where hundreds of years later a divine baby was born to defeat Satan once and for all. But I wonder if the devil had any idea about how exactly this baby would conquer him. As soon as Jesus was baptized, and God revealed Jesus' true identity by saying, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased," Satan immediately went on the attack and tempted Jesus.
We have with this photograph that was shared by a couple taken while they were home alone. They were capturing a cute moment together, heads close, smiling for the camera, and when they looked closer at the photograph later, something appeared. Right in the gap between their heads, there was a pale face staring directly at the camera. At first, they thought it might have been a trick of the lighting or a reflection, but the more they examined it, the more impossible it seemed. According to the couple, they don't have children, there was no one else in the house at the time, so it clearly isn't a person. This has left them and many who've seen the photograph wondering if it could be the spirit of a child. Is it somehow attached to the house or a couple themselves? Some speculate that perhaps the couple lost a child in the past, and this could be a lingering presence. Others think it could be an entirely unrelated spirit that happened to be appearing in the photograph.
A group of friends was hanging out outside when they noticed something eerie.
What is that? Guys, what is...
A weird face emerged from the darkness, its pale, hairless features looking
completely in 1996, near Varginha, Brazil, the military allegedly shot down a UFO that had crash-landed in the area. Upon investigating, soldiers reportedly discovered a strange, almost reptilian creature about 7 to 8 feet tall wandering in the woods. The being was captured, but what happened to it afterward remains unknown, fueling mystery and speculation.
Life, existence, and reality is rooted in what science has shown us. But there is a theory making the rounds that completely challenges the way we see this planet. According to the idea, Earth is not a free and natural world at all. Instead, it's a kind of prison realm designed to trap our souls, recycle them, and send them back into new bodies the moment we die. Some believers go even further and claim that powerful beings use this place as a source of energy, feeding on human souls and repurposing them for reasons we cannot comprehend. It sounds extreme, but with the way people have been questioning reality, dimensions, consciousness, and the meaning of life after death, theories like this no longer feel shocking to everyone. The real question becomes this: could Earth truly be something other than what we believe? Or is this simply another corner of the internet where imagination runs wild? The Anunnaki have created a group of genetically modified human beings. Some of the celebrities we admire today are not regular humans at all. They were engineered by the Anunnaki and placed amongst us as the famous figures we look up to. Almost like a method to guide or influence humanity from the very top of society. How people treat celebrities, how they admire them, follow them, defend them, and hang on every move they make, the idea becomes a little more unsettling. If the Anunnaki wanted influence, what better strategy than to create individuals with remarkable talent and place them in front of the entire world?
Some of your biggest celebrities, Sean, are not the sex they appear to be, and some of them are AI, half human, or clones.
That's crazy.
Yes, and I'm talking really big. Genetic engineering is in my opinion, one of the biggest issues on this planet. The Anunnaki have an entire zoo of creations, and I mean life forms. So they have created so many different people that look like people, and they're not. But maybe they're really high in status and power and celebrities and sports. They were created through genetic experiment. They have an entire zoo full of life forms that they just waltz out whenever they want.
Lonely back road in Texas, surrounded by nothing but silent, towering woods, when something unexpected darted across the pavement and vanished into the trees. When you watch their footage, it only gets stranger. The figure looks almost human, but its body is unnaturally tall and thin. Its limbs stretch long, the skin appears pale and bare, and the way it moves is enough to make your chest tighten as it drops to all fours and sprints into the dark. The encounter lasted just seconds. The couple kept driving, stunned by what they'd seen, but the moment lingered long after they left the woods behind. Now the clip is circulating online, stirring up a storm of theories. Did this couple capture something unknown lurking in the trees, or is the internet witnessing nothing more than a perfectly crafted illusion?
Whoa! What the? Did you see that? Hold on.
It ran across.
She blinked. What is that thing?
One cold, windy night in November 2007 in southwest England went to the old church graveyard in Uphill. They had a simple 3.2 megapixel phone camera and wanted to check out the place, which was known for ghost stories. The graveyard felt creepy, so they quickly took a few photos and left. Later at home, one picture shocked them, a rogue asylum. The owner kept the place clean and even rented it out for paranormal tours. Visitors were locked in from around 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. to wander the halls on their own. The user snapped a bunch of photos that night, but one of them caught something really weird.
Districts do they have in the 100 grams? 13, just like there's 13 Federal Reserve banks in America. One judge, 12 jurors, one son, 12 sides. Every single time it's there. You have to look at the systems in play. And then you're going to see the elite use numerology and astrology.
Alguien me caga que me diga qué significa eso. Una mano te va a recoger a ti y a tu carro.
Thrilling photo brought back an old mystery. In the late 1980s, a young woman had gone missing in that same area, and foul play was suspected, though her body was never found.
Hungarian doctor in the 1840s. He noticed that women were dying from childbirth fever in hospitals, but not at home. He suggested that doctors should wash their hands between patients. The medical community was outraged and called his ideas wrong. They said gentlemen's hands were always clean and removed him from his position. Semmelweis struggled with the rejection. Decades later, germ theory proved he was absolutely right, and hand washing became standard practice that saves millions of lives today. This image shows Alfred Wegener, a German scientist who proposed in 1912 that continents moved across the Earth's surface. He noticed that fossils and rock formations matched perfectly across different continents like pieces of a puzzle. The scientific community rejected him, calling his continental drift theory incorrect. They said continents were too heavy to move. Wegener passed away in 1930, still doubted by his peers. In the 1960s, plate tectonics proved he was completely correct about how our planet works. This photograph shows Barbara McClintock, a geneticist who discovered in the 1940s that genes could move and change position within chromosomes. Fellow scientists called her research so unconventional that she stopped publishing her findings for years. They said genes were fixed and couldn't jump around. McClintock continued her work quietly while others dismissed her ideas. In 1983, she won the Nobel Prize when science finally caught up to her discoveries about genetic mobility that revolutionized our understanding.
The moon is a spaceship. It was built on Jupiter about 38 million years ago. Now, it doesn't have its own propulsion. It has to be towed. Our moon was towed into its orbit now about 15,000 years ago, just after the Ice Age. And when man first became aware of the skies, there was no moon, and then there was 2 moons, and then there was 1 moon. And we think that the 2 moons was the vehicle that towed our moon into space. Howard Menger wrote a book called From Outer Space to You, and when I read the book, I thought it was really great. Found out that not only he was invited up there, but there was a number of other people, scientists. They take them all around the moon. There's a train that travels to what he calls a copper highway, and he doesn't know how it goes, but it's very silent and goes very fast. Very nice people, very advanced, and they've taken, like I say, they've taken thousands of people over the years. People don't say that, won't tell their story, because they know that they won't be believed. Our solar system, we're told by NASA there's 9 planets. There's actually 40. There's the Earth plus 39. And each of those planets has a civilization, and each of those planets has moons that have civilizations.
So she heads to the kitchen for some girl dinner in the form of grapes that also keeps switching back and forth from grapes into cockroaches, so that's pretty tasty. And of course, right as she pops one into her mouth stretches open in this horrific way. And the video ends after this with the
tuning into our show. We hope you've had a lot of fun and learned some new things.
After that, we see that there's...
You're not supposed to be here.
And the words, "Find the truth," can be seen hidden on the screen.
I'm so glad to see you again. Oh my, what happened to you? It looks like you've seen a ghost. Did you have a bad dream? Do you know how to get rid of bad dreams? First, you find a sink. Then, whisper your dream into running water. Remember, dreams can't hurt you, unless you let them.
As Dottie whispers her bad dream, she says that she should clean her room now. We hear a knock at the door, the same one that we saw in the intro of the video.
I promised I would clean my room today. It's important to keep your space cleanly, so... Clean my room today. It's important to keep your space cleanly, so... Have you ever known you were better than the world let you believe?
And then, when her smile finally drops, when she finally shows an emotion that's not this forced, like, happy persona, the eyes are completely whited out.
I saw a group of ethereal beings. They were bright, they were shining, really white, bright light. And this group called to me. I didn't hear a voice. The idea simply appeared in my mind. And as soon as I accepted that idea, I began to move rather quickly in the direction of those beings. When I reached them, they circled around me and I felt this overwhelming love, acceptance. I felt the love that binds all things, that heals all things. Love is the greatest power in the universe. That's how the creation was made, through love. Everything that I had heard before about being judged wasn't a part of what I was experiencing in any way. I was made to feel that I had done something special. And these beings held me and sent energy and love into me. And I felt this incredible love that was everywhere around me and through me and in me. This was my true home. And the most interesting thing was that everything that I had been worried about moments before, all of the things that I was doing at work, making another move and buying another home and selling the old one, all of the details that every human being goes through, all of a sudden, they were meaningless. And I had the feeling that whatever was next, everything would be okay. It would be just fine. Amazing feeling to be relieved of all of the problems, all of the headaches of living in a three-dimensional existence. And I thought, it's really easy to die. My hard part is living. I had the idea that I could stay or I could choose to go back. But it was my choice.
Remember that public school system equals a black magic ritual. Our textbooks were founded by the dude, the Maxwell family. Okay, and when you start to look into who actually created the school system, the modern school system, you're like, oh, well, good job, Rockefellers. You sure did a great job creating a huge psyop to get us to replace, instead of the Bible, since we started to follow the public school system, we went ahead and we followed the path of the Rockefellers, and we said we're going to put capitalism over the Bible. And instead of teaching our children the Bible, we're going to entrap them, and we're going to put them in jail, aka the public school system. So that way, they can never actually learn the truth. They only learn the watered-down version that is taught to you by the Rockefeller administration. And this is why, once you go to college, you will lose your faith. 9 out of 10 most people who go to college, they all lose their faith. So, if we want our children to lose their faith, we will send them to the public school system. If we want our children to retain faith, which is currency, the older we get, faith is a currency on upswing. If we want that currency to be taken away, then we'll sign our children over to the Rockefellers and to the Maxwell family. And we'll allow the Maxwell family and the Rockefellers, we'll allow their mindset to educate our children, as opposed to listening to what the Most High is actually saying. So yeah, we're just going to send our children. We're not going to let them play outside and learn outside. Oh, that's kind of crazy. Like, we should not allow our children to be stuck inside of jail cell for 8+ hours a day. That is called communism. I meant capitalism. Because we know that communism and capitalism, they're the same thing. Because if we are not following the biblical law, as well as the 50-year Jubilee, all debts are paid. But you have no faith, don't you? You can't inherit or have sovereignty if we are in the school system. This is exactly why nobody understands sovereignty, biblical sovereignty, or trust. Because they have brainwashed us in this institution. You teach them communism while they're young. Yeah. And make sure that they forsake the Torah of their mother and their father. What's going to happen? It's called dope versus hope. And they've been selling you a bill of dope labeled as hope. Oh, just send your children. We have the best teachers in the world. Oh, look at this principle. Listen, those principles, they don't deserve to live. Because they are pushing which agenda? They are pushing capitalism and communism. They are not pushing what the preacher taught us. We are supposed to actually, we're supposed to do this thing here. We're not supposed to be, we'll just be lukewarm. The Lord says, I'd rather you be cold than lukewarm. Think about that. Salah. Anyways, this is also why herbs will end the curse. Revelation 22:3. Get you the health Bible. Neo Guide, the health kit. Listen, if you can't get out of the system, at least use some herbs that will end the curse, okay?
Some aliens came here 400,000 years ago, genetically engineered apes into humans to mine gold, and then left because, don't know, our dicks were too small or something. Not only is this theory baloney, it's actually an orchestrated psyop intended to misdirect the conspiracy community. Now, how do I know that's the case? Thank you for asking. The theory first came from Zecharia Sitchin in his book The 12th Planet, based on his own translation of ancient Sumerian text. Aside from the fact that Sitchin was funded by Lawrence Rockefeller and operated his office out of Rockefeller Plaza and was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, I have other reasons to believe Sitchin's theory is fraudulent, if you will. Sitchin claimed that the word Shamu or Shamu in Sumerian means rockets or fiery sky chariots, when in reality, it's just a dead whale at SeaWorld. No, really, in linguistic reality, which I'm learning has nothing to do with Ratatouille, it actually means heaven or sky. Similarly, Sitchin interpreted the Sumerian word dinger or dinger as astronaut or extraterrestrial, when in reality it means God or deity. Now, why do I think this theory is a purposely orchestrated vessel of misinformation? Well, I've already explained Sitchin's relation with Rockefeller, but let's look a bit deeper. In the 80s and 90s, Lawrence Rockefeller made various moves and financial decisions to inorganically fuel alien and UFO discourse in conspiracy communities. You've been conditioned to believe that the government is hiding aliens from you, when in fact it's actually the opposite. The list goes on of Rockefeller's funding for further UFO discussion. He funded the UFO Disclosure Initiative with the Clinton administration. Another organization, known as the Fund for UFO Research, was donated to by Rockefeller. Zecharia Sitchin wasn't the only researcher that Rockefeller funded either. John Mack and Colin Andrews were both sponsored by Rockefeller to write books on alien abductions and crop circles. Both made multiple appearances on Coast to Coast AM, which is a globalist-controlled platform specifically designed to funnel misinformation to its conspiracy-minded following. Similar to Alex Jones's platform or Joe Rogan, but maybe. Who am I? Project Starlight, which aimed to convince global leaders of the realities of UFOs, was also funded by Lawrence Rockefeller. He also funded the creation of the UFO briefing document, which was overseen by his associate Marie Galbraith. The document was meant to present evidence of UFO phenomena to government officials and scientists. Rockefeller, as well as a society known as the Aviary Group, whose members include ex-US Air Force, CIA, and fake whistleblowers like Bob Lazar, have fueled 99% of alien discourse and speculation. They've worked very hard to convince the public that aliens are a reality, from the Majestic 12 documents, Area 51 conspiracy theories, what is this, amateur hour? Come on. The infamous Roswell incident, as well as the very first UFO abduction, which included Betty and Barney Hill, friends of Major James McDonald, an Air Force and CIA intelligence operative. Not only does the Anunnaki theory attempt to legitimize the idea of extraterrestrials even more, it also throws conspiracy-minded individuals in the search of real alternative history off the scent of truth.